We're getting to the end of October, and there's still no official Pokemon news, but we have the Gigaleak and a few details from when Pokemon Legends ZA was announced, so let's see what's going on with the game. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. So all Pokemon Legends ZA leaks so far takes place entirely within Lumio City, so this was like tweeted by Nintendo, and people couldn't deal because, wait a second, that means a Pokemon Legends game would be bad, but that's impossible. But also, that means Verlisify was right, and we can't have that. So the leaks are just giving us all kinds of crazy stuff, like Southern Kalos existed at a point, but it was scrapped, but it was never planned to be in Pokemon X and Y. It was just like a little bit of testing and documenting while they were developing the Kalos region. So a new document from Game Freak confirms they were planning to save Southern Kalos for another game after Pokemon X and Y. That is so sad, because Kalos is the least explored and developed region, even though it really felt like that was the time everyone came back into Pokemon. So we never got our proper sequel version. We're not getting our remake that we deserve, so we're losing out on all the beauty of developing Kalos and finding out for a fanfic made-up story that's not going to properly explain anything. That was the problem with Pokemon Legends Arceus, that it just threw away all the established lore of the entire Pokemon series and franchise, like how Pokeballs work and stuff, and just went, nah, we're gonna make things up for fan service. Which, like, wait a second, but there's already Sinnoh folklore and myths, and that would have been really cool. And the Gigaleak proves me even more right, because there's so much scrapped lore and history, especially around Generation 4. Instead of developing what we already had information on, we got complete made-up garbage that doesn't even make sense when you actually put it up to any scrutiny. Also, something about the leaks with Pokemon Legends ZA saying it takes place 150 years ago. Congratulations, that actually like destroys all of the established Pokemon history even further, proving Pokemon Legends Arceus is terrible, and the Pokemon Legends series is also terrible. But with this, it's like, oh, Southern Kalos. There's so many other ways this could have been implemented as well, because you know what everyone wants? A dual-region Pokemon game again, so without a Z version, that was always on the table, and the more you just go back, like, so many kids either don't understand everything that was going on in the Pokemon community, or it's all been forgotten because of social media brain rot. Like, the timeline, how everything lines up, and what these leaks mean, because, alright, we had Pokemon X and Y, and we had Generation 7, and then there was, like, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for the first games on the Switch, and then we went into Sword and Shield. So it's like, well, with Sword and Shield, we finally have, like, a huge main series console game that has confirmed DLC. Why not make the DLC of Pokemon Sword and Shield have us go back to Kalos? Or if Southern Kalos is supposed to be its own thing, you could at least visit that, and then, like, that teases even more Kalos and does it better than only being stuck in Lumio City for Pokemon Legends ZA. Well, let's see if the other leaks make anything better. Being developed for Switch 1, not Switch 2. So I think, like, early on, people are like, oh, Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be for Switch 1 and Switch 2, like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But now it looks like there is no Switch 2 for it. There's Switch 2 information because Game Freak is developing games for the Nintendo Switch 2, which makes sense because it's already been confirmed by Nintendo that we're going to get an announcement about it at some point. So all of that is just, like, natural game development stuff that all these midwits in the Pokemon community do not understand. Then we have, like, okay, Switch 1, makes sense. Final Pokemon game on Nintendo Switch, makes sense. That doesn't change anything. But, like, no leak information. It's like, but it actually changes the thing. No, it's exactly what we thought it was, and we just have confirmation there. So a number of new Megas will be introduced, including Mega Zygarde, Mega Zeraora, and others. So Mega Zygarde, like, but why Sun and Moon? Why the Zygarde 100% form? Why the cells and all these other weird things? And that brings us to more things these ignorant brats flooding the Pokemon community do not understand, because there's interviews with Game Freak saying that instead of getting a Z version, we decided to tie it together in a different way, and that's why we got Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire continuing the Mega story. Now, what does that mean for a sequel version of X and Y? Who knows? But I mean, like, it could have been explored in a proper remake. Instead of getting a proper Generation 4 remake, we got Pokemon Legends Arceus, just ruining Generation 4. And Brilliant Diamond Shine Pearl could have been so much better. It could have been like Scarlet and Violet, but better, but Generation 4 remakes that everyone had, like, built up the infinite hype over. And now it's the same thing for the next Pokemon Legends game, that instead of getting the proper sequel version to Pokemon X and Y, we're getting garbage and fan service and weirdness that doesn't make sense. And then you can also see how even going into Pokemon Sun and Moon, the generation after, there were still ties to the Kalos region, because instead of making the sequel version, they just kind of spread out the information across other games. But at some point, all of that got scrapped because Game Freak has lost confidence in themselves because the Pokemon community is so loud and toxic that they don't know what to do anymore. Despite the sales showing like, hey, just make good main series Pokemon games, and then those are going to sell, and ignore the people crying because they're just idiots. So yeah, Mega Zygarde, nonsense fan service, but predictable, especially with like Megas being confirmed, and Megas didn't even need to come back. But if you're revisiting Kalos, kind of have to put Megas back in somehow. However, if it's like a legend and you're going in the past, it doesn't make sense. Try not to think about it. So we have Mega Zeraora. This is weird because it kind of ties into what's coming out with the leaks, where there was supposed to be a 4th mythical Pokemon that was a Steel-Electric type. I wonder what that means for the power plant we never got to explore, that was just locked away and teasing us forever. So like maybe Zeraora was planned to be in Generation 6, it got moved because there was already enough mythical nonsense, then Mega Zeraora is a thing and probably has some influence with the power plant and its development. Then other Megas, because if you're having a game with Megas, you gotta introduce more. Shiny Sparkle sound from Legends Arceus is back. Cool. I'm down with that, where it's like, yeah, the sound, the animation, that, like, just even like an animation of Sparkles missing from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet felt weird, but then it's also what we saw in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so please, just, like, a little bit of things in the overworld, because it is a shiny, it does sparkle. So, unlike Legends, the game is not set in the past, except that's not a confirmed leak. This is coming from Ku, who has been, like, completely confirmed as a fraud, but Pokemon community only knows how to deal in fake information, even when we have real leaks. And that's another thing that upsets me. Like, the Pokemon community is in such a horrible state right now. Imagine these leaks in 2017. Even imagine these leaks in, like, 2018. But because everything has just become a fake leak culture, getting real leaks doesn't really mean anything. Also, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company not having any real information to hype us out, because it used to balance, where it's like, oh, we're getting a Pokemon Sun and Moon trailer every 2 weeks, and there's also a couple of leaks saying that we're expecting the starter final evolutions at some point, and when you see the Rugby Monkey, things are going to get lit. And this also happened with the Kaka leaks, that we actually had a real Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leaker giving us the details, giving us gameplay images, and all this other crazy stuff, and then Ku had to, like, mix in with that. And because Ku and Centro Pokemon are fighting with each other, it all gets conflated, where the Centro just says, trusted leaker says this, when it's like, no, that's not the trusted leaker, that's Ku's fake information, and then it's all just nonsense, and then bad actor Poketuber's not doing anything to actually have integrity or honesty in the Pokemon community. So, and this is also debunked by Centro themselves, because it's just not the distant past, that it could still take place in the past, even by Ku's own words, so that's whatever. Art style is similar to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and people have also misinterpreted that, where it's like, okay, cool, so it looks more like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, like Pokemon Sword and Shield. So it just doesn't have the stylization of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which makes sense, because we're not going into the distant past anymore. Current build still has performance issues. I don't trust any of that, because, like, the performance issues of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are so vastly overstated. Mabel from Team Flare is a part of the game in the Quasar organization somehow. Was originally planned to release in 2024. Current release date between April and July 2025, unless there's another delay. And this is another thing, we're like conflating real and fake leaks. This is from the Gigaleak. This garbage is from Ku. And maybe the most important part of the leak, Stunfisk is in the game. So we also have some other details. Hacker claims they already played the whole main story, and even it being incomplete, they liked it a lot. Okay, I guess that's just an important detail, even though after people claiming Pokemon Legends Arceus had a good story, I can't trust anyone in the Pokemon community. Like, that was another wild thing, that all the creators, because they just, like, all-in and defended it, and just lied about it. It's not open world, and it's not a spin-off game. And when you, like, bring this up to people that, you know, they're like, yeah, Pokemon Legends is really good for, like, a spin-off game, or, you know, it was the first open world Pokemon game, so you gotta give it some credit. It's like, yeah, they just cannot cope with how bad Pokemon Legends Arceus is. So it's like, and then you watch streamers are there and they look miserable the entire time playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then if someone says like, hey, you don't look happy, or hey, this game looks boring, they would snap at whoever's commenting that, and it's like, yeah, that's because you're a complete fake. Just all the coverage around Pokemon Legends Arceus was that fake, and then you might be thinking, oh, you're being too harsh to the Pokemon community. No, I'm not. The toxic negativity and brain rot is why everything is so miserable in the Pokemon community. Why not use the much nicer, cleaner, and more liked art style of Legends Arceus? It isn't those things. And that's also a reason why Pokemon Legends didn't sell. It's like the worst selling main series Pokemon game on the Switch. I don't know, guys. Scarlet art style and performance ruins the hype for me. I was 100% sure this is going to be a starting exclusive title for the Switch too. This doesn't sound exciting. So yeah, just like, this is how stupid the NPCs are in the Pokemon community that are just everywhere. Where it's like, there's nothing wrong with the art style of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's also crazy, and I've been talking about this for a decade, about how like the Pokemon community also seeds into politics because it's all just like terminally online nonsense, that all people hear are just like trigger words. Oh, Pokemon Scarlet. If anything in any Pokemon anything is related to like Pokemon Scarlet or National Dex or trees, you immediately just must hate. That is the NPC coding of these people in the Pokemon community. Where it's like, oh, Scarlet art style, it's bad. It doesn't matter if it was supposed to be Pokemon Legends. We have now sent out the newsletter to everyone. The cult has determined the popular opinion must be that if it is not exactly like Pokemon Legends, it is bad, because Pokemon Legends is not Scarlet and Violet or Brilliant Diamond and Shine Pearl, which automatically makes it good. And then performance issues of a game that is like 6 months out from release, and it would be some kind of early build that was taken off of some random Game Freak server in a hack. And then the complete fabrication of their ill mind, 100% sure this was going to be a starting exclusive title for the Switch too. With no evidence except for those fake leaks that have always been wrong that you still believe for some reason. It's incredible that like 90% of the online Pokemon community just cannot think for themselves. So, was already worried. We found out the whole game takes place in Lumiose. Now we find out Scarlet and Violet graphics and the same performance issues starting to sound bad. Which means that like now that the community sentiment is flipped, I'm worried that the game is actually going to be good and I'm going to like it and no one else is. And then this part, it's so weird to watch like the cognitive dissonance just break so many people in the Pokemon community, or just not accept reality. Again, kind of like showing how much the Pokemon community mirrors people engaging with politics. Because I covered that news. We have official information about Pokemon Legends ZA. There's only one trailer and a tweet. Difficult to judge a game based off of so little information, when, as I said, like, that should be enough to ruin the game right there, where it's like, oh, this is not a proper Kalos sequel or remake, and we're not getting the beauty of Kalos. We're not getting everything we missed. Or if we somehow do, it all just gets crammed into developing Lumiose City with fake lore. Like, there's no way this game can be as good as the alternative, much like how it was impossible for Pokemon Legends Arceus to be good when compared to the potential of having like open world Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So it's Verlis bad because he says being entirely within Lumiose City is bad, and now people are like starting to get shaken by it though, because like, wait, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but Game Freak bad. I don't get why sticking to Lumiose is bad, the city with the most potential that wasn't fully used in Pokemon X. You mean the entire region that had the most potential that wasn't fully utilized. Restrictions bad, but not when you're an idiot in the Pokemon community. I also find it funny, this person's like, there's too little information for us to base anything off the game, and then somehow is able to say this much defending the game with the same lack of information. We don't know what it looks like or how it will play. Criticizing over one tweet how it takes place entirely within Lumiose City, I can tell you're only thinking of the one from Pokemon X and Y. So Pokemon from the one from X and Y is like the entire Lumiose City almost. Like, sure, they can add a couple more buildings and spread it out, but it's still like, why not the entire region? And we don't know if they're going to expand it or not, because even then, like, the cognitive dissonance in their brain, that part right there, they're like, but yeah, it would be better if we got more than Lumiose. So we're getting more than Lumiose, and Verlisify's wrong. If GTA can do it, why can't Pokemon? So we don't have enough information to be critical about it, but automatically Pokemon Legends must be amazing, therefore it will be the GTA of Pokemon. Pokemon GTA sounds cool. Then you just the same brain cell shared between them all. Bro, didn't Pokemon Legends Arceus take place in one city where you go exploring the rest of the region? That's not what take place means, because it takes place in the Sinnoh region entirely? Bro, like, inability, just gone, completely gone, has to complain about everything, and has to complain about everything, shut up, as we see the Pokemon community complain about everything more than me. I am more supportive of modern Pokemon games and Game Freak than any other creator, than anyone else in these comments, and then I'm the one that gets hated for being too negative. Yeah, that's what I have about Pokemon Legends ZA, and it's mostly the other things from the leak kind of making it where it's like, oh, yeah, this isn't looking good, and it's mostly about the wasted potential. That was one of the first things I said about Pokemon Legends Arceus before we even got the, like, more information before the game came out, I looked at the reveal and the stupid-looking Pokeball and went, oh, this just kind of, like, pisses away every cool thing we could have gotten instead. We didn't need to go back and make up fake history. We just needed to have a very strong Sinnoh game that can still tell the story from the present. And now the same thing is going to ruin Pokemon Legends ZA. But with how much the community has turned on it, it's going to be that I'm going to be the only person that ends up liking ZA for some weird reason, and everyone else hates it because they've already because they heard about a leak 6 months before the game releases, and then they're just going to say, yep, I have now submitted my view and it is never changing again, because that's how people operate online. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.